Hey houseplant friends, welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today is a beautiful rainy day and I've just got the vibes, okay? Get your morning coffee or your evening coffee or your noon coffee or your high tea or your morning, sorry. We're gonna talk about the plant prices. Some of my predictions have come true. The last time I made a video about this was July 25th and I called it plant prices are dropping fast. They still are. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe. Maybe you've been binge watching my videos and you just forgot to hit that subscribe button. Welcome to the community. I also have YouTube channel memberships, which you can check out at the link in the description. So the last time we talked about this, I kind of just like threw all of my thoughts at you and just like expected you to just be able to like take all of that. A lot of it was so much rambling. I still think it was a good video and I don't have a tuning fork to wave at you this time, but I do have a lot of updates regarding kind of the things that I said in the last video. So a lot of what I said in the last video was that I'm pretty sure that plant prices are dropping right now because people are not able to be in the plant community as much because they either had to go back to work and the only people who are left in the community to do the collecting is the people who were here before, or that we as a group of plant collectors are done with paying higher prices, so therefore we're just not buying. But something that I think I failed to mention, which when I rewatched my video to take notes for this one, is that by the time that growers grow enough plants out to sell to you, they are probably already out of trend in season. This is something I've seen a lot of people on Facebook actually discuss when people are like, hey, I'm gonna open a plant shop, a rare plant shop specifically. Growers are pretty much always like, don't open up a normal plant shop because by the time that you're done growing out all of these rare plants, it'll be a year or two later and you will literally be out of trend. So what's happening right now is we have like a actually massive large influx of people opening up plant shops, which is super fun and always welcome. However, something else I wanted to discuss is I think that it is possible that we might start to see an oversaturation of the market within the next like 6 months to a year, to where now there's suddenly too many plants for the people who want to buy them. We're not quite there yet, but there's a couple interesting trends I've noticed with some plants that were pretty darn trendy 2 and 3 years ago, and what they kind of look like right now. When we looked at plant prices last, albos were still kind of expensive at like $250, $320. Syngonium albos were like $45 or $50. Pink princesses were at minimum $120 up to $250. I wanted to update you on some of these prices. I wrote down these ones very specifically. They're very surprising to me. So albos have actually gone down in price again, and I made an average. So I like took a bunch of listings from people who are posting albos pretty darn often. So not just like a one-time seller, but like people like Varigata 777 and Botanicas. And what we've seen is that the average price for an albo per leaf right now, so like for a 1-leaf plant or like rooting cutting, is we're seeing about $150 to $280 on average, which is wild because that is pretty low for a 1-leaf cutting. Syngonium albos right now, I wanted to give this a lower number because it's what I'm seeing locally as well as on Facebook, but on Etsy it's a little higher. So the average for this I actually got was $20 to $35. I myself actually got both of these Syngonium albo plants for $15 total. It's like in this pot, $15 locally. So Syngonium albo are quickly becoming, I think, an oversaturation of the market, or people are just bored. I made a prediction in the last video in July that I thought white variegation was going to be like the thing. And I want to take that back because what I have seen is white variegation is becoming extremely less popular than yellow or green on green variegation. I think that is because of the rising popularity of the sport variegated Monstera, mostly made popular by Tyler Thrasher when he started the whole sport hunting thing. So I think that that's something to take into consideration too. I don't think white will become not popular at all. The Syngonium podophyllum aurea and Mojito, which are more of a yellow and creamy variety, are still going for well over $100 for a 1 or 2 leaf plant. In some cases $200 or $300 for those. The only difference, like they're the exact same plant. The only difference is this one's just white. And I think that people are kind of moving on from the white variegation, which is definitely something that I was not expecting. Another thing I noticed when I was on Etsy doing my research and on Facebook was that on Etsy there were 2 very clear well, 3 very clear market dominators, and that would be botanicas. When you search philodendron verrucosum, you get about 30 listings from botanicas. If you search begonia at all on Etsy, it's just botanicas. And yeah, there are some stores here and there that do sell some begonias, but when you're looking for that specific genre of plant, botanicas is really the market top right now. With albos, you're seeing Variegata 777 and Gabrielle Mercantile.
Gabrielle Mercantile did change their name to Gabrielle Home and Garden.
Gabrielle Mercantile really seems to be the market dominator of the illustrious, very inaccessible plants on Etsy, such as variegated Biliaceae, Aureas, Sports, even Spiritus Sanctis in some cases. I believe they actually have one listed right now. Those were the 3 names I saw over and over and over again, and I pretty much couldn't search anything without getting Gabrielle Mercantile, Variegata 777, Botanicas just popping up on every single front page. Another thing I wanted to discuss was the continuously dropping price of the Monstera Obliqua. The Monstera Obliqua has really taken like a financial hit. I personally am very glad this plant is becoming more accessible because it's one of my favorite plants to grow. It's one of my best growing plants just in general. And when I joined the community, this was a $5,000 plant, like just genuinely. And now on Etsy, you can get one for 250 bucks, 300 bucks. And of course you're buying a 1 leaf, you know, 1 petiole, 1 node plant, but you used to have to spend $500 to buy an unrooted runner. So it's just like, it's amazing what's happening. And the last time we talked, there was actually this big Facebook drama in the plant community surrounding the Obliqua growers group, where one Obliqua grower suggested that they all just stop selling them because the plant was being devalued too much. And you know, what I'm assuming here, speculating, is that they were just losing too much money on this plant that they've invested in. Which brings us back to the point that as a grower of rare plants, by the time you even get to grow out your plants, the market's kind of dropped. In order to be ahead of these trends, you have to be very, very particular, which is why I really like to do these plant prices and plant market analytics videos, because I think it's very fun to like write my little notes and then try to keep track of like what's going on and what people are liking and not liking. Right now, plant prices of the trendy plants from 2 and 3 years ago are at an all-time low, except for the Monstera albo. I don't know if that plant will ever truly drop to some super duper low prices, but what I do know is that it seems to have at least returned similarly to the prices where it was when I first joined the community. You know, we're not seeing $50 albos anywhere like we're seeing with another plant I'll bring up in a second. That is really surprising. But what we are seeing is that albos are coming back down to the $200 mark for a 1 leaf, which when I first joined the community, I remember selling a couple albos for like, you know, rooted 1 node, 1 leaf plants, maybe like 120, 180 at the most expensive. I think at one point I sold like a 3 leaf top beautiful marble one that was super rooted for 280, and that was like the most expensive I'd ever sold 3 years ago when I first started collecting and was living in my dorm. We're not quite at that point where you can buy like a 3-leafed albo cutting for 280, but I feel like we're kind of getting there, because right now for 1 leaf, you're at like 150 to 280. So we are getting back down, because there was a while over the summer where if you wanted 1 albo leaf cutting, it was like $400. That is really nice to see that kind of coming back down. In my opinion, from what I have gathered, now is the time to buy King Princess Philodendron, which we'll talk about in a second, Syngonium albo, and most trendy anthuriums. I'm not talking about the collector's anthuriums, right? Like the Populolimianums and the Wendelingeries, like those are probably always going to stay expensive because they're not a plant that's honestly popular. The anthurium I am talking about are crystallinums, even regals, magnificums, and warocqueanums specifically. Right now on Etsy, there are a surprising amount of warocqueanums for sale from the US that are $100 to $120, which is lower than when I even joined the community. When I joined the community, it was like, gosh, $250 for an Anthurium warocqueanum for like one leaf. It only got more expensive and then it kind of started to fall. And I haven't really been tracking Anthurium for a while because they're hard to propagate. Anthurium are not a very beginner-friendly plant because most plant beginners want to propagate, they want to share their plants, they want to do trades, and that's very hard to do with Anthurium, which is why I really think that Anthurium are more of a collector's plant. At least that's how I've always looked at them. They're more of like a bougier, like you really aren't gonna be making any money back on them or doing trades with them to like, you know, get other stuff. However, what I have noticed is that while plant prices are still falling, we've seen a dramatic surge in a lot of newer plants to the trendy market, such as syngoniums, begonias, which I think has really been made popular by botanicas, the newer philodendron, such as the philodendron felix, any of these newer varieties that are kind of coming out. The trendy Anthurium thing is weird to me because when we first talked about this a couple months ago in July, Anthurium crystallinum was becoming, not even crystallinum, it was clarinervium. Anthurium clarinervium was becoming very, very cheap on Facebook, not on Etsy, but on Facebook. It was about $40 to $60 plant. The prices on that went back up briefly, and I think that one is actually becoming a little bit more expensive again. Clarinerviums, the warocqueanums, like all these Anthurium that we have really liked for a long time are just being like flooded kind of right now, and people are selling them and there's really no one to buy them. There's no one that I know that's really making Anthurium. Oh, Natalie wants them. There's no one I really know that's really honestly talking about Anthurium besides like Ella from the Plants Meow. I would love to have more Anthurium, but like I said, like for me, they're more of a plant that I can't really like get anything back from other than the fact that they grow and they're really pretty. I've only ever propagated one and it was a forgetii, which was easy because it's a forgetii. But yeah, I would say that for honestly right now, like these plants are dropping, and the most surprising thing out of all of this is pink princess prices. Philodendron pink princess prices, PPPP. And that is because on Etsy at this very moment, pink princess prices are about $50. There are multiple listings for a smaller 2-inch, kind of 4-inch size plant for $54 from the plant farm, ranging up to about $120 for a 4-inch plant. You guys, this plant was like a $200, $300 plant just mere months ago. It started to drop a little bit back in July, which is what we were talking about. But if you want a pink princess philodendron, now is the time. Even in my own hometown where I live right now, we got $70 4-inch pots of pink princess this week delivered to pet stores. Okay? Stores that have only ever sold pothos are now carrying pink princess. And the reason is because I'm sure 2 and 3 years ago, all of these growers started growing this plant and now they are finally being able to be released to the market. But everyone already has one. So everything is a lot cheaper than I think these places were thinking that they would be. You want a pink princess philodendron, Syngonium albopodophyllum, the trendy Anthurium from 2 or 3 years ago, Obliqua. I would say that this is the time to really start looking for Obliqua if you don't have that much of a price range, still like 100, 300 is still out of your price range, which is normal. Start thinking about it. But pink princess, you got 50 bucks. I mean, there were even cute ones. Like, oh my gosh, they're not just like burgundy, you know? But I will say, if you have Syngonium, that like a Syngonium red spot tricolor or milk confetti or scrambled eggs. Gosh, there are so many. Yeah, it's actually so cool. I would say that your plants that you have that are these plants that you might have gotten a long time ago, because Syngonium have not really even been that popular. I think that you're about to see a really large rise in prices around those plants. So if you were thinking about selling one and you're someone who is more like financially invested in your plants, personally, I'd probably hold on to it because I really think in the next year, even 6 months, we're gonna see a massive increase in Syngonium popularity. I really think that they're going to kind of slingshot the plant market. That's really where the most expensive plants I can find are right now, honestly. Like philodendron, sure, they've always been expensive. Some Anthurium, yeah, but there are literal Syngoniums out there that are like $1,700 to $2,100 right now. and I was sleeping on that. So anyways, so that is my analysis of the plant market and plant prices currently. Current predictions, like I just said, I really think Syngonium is going to become a massively popular genre in the plant community. I think it's going to be a very expensive and inaccessible genre in the plant community. I think begonias are going to become more accessible financially while becoming more popular because botanicas, obviously. And I think that Albo's prices are going to keep going down probably for the next 6 months or so, I think. And then I think that once spring rolls around, they're gonna pop back up in price again. I think Anthurium are going to continue to become less popular due to the massive flooding on the market right now of plant parents. I really just don't think Anthuriums are a very beginner-friendly plant. They require a ton of humidity, ton of care to make sure you're not overwatering the roots. They really require like a lot more than a philodendron or a monstera do, in my opinion at least. And on top of that, you can't really propagate them and share them with your friends. And I think we're seeing a very interesting shift. I think we're kind of like right now at a pivoting point in the plant community with these prices and genuses. I really think all these genuses are kind of switching up. I think that the more availability of alocasia has made alocasia less desirable. One thing you haven't heard me really talk about is Hoya, and that's because I'm kind of saving that for another video. Hoya continue to be one of the most expensive plant genuses on the market, and if you're looking to get specific Hoya, I mean, you have to be someone who's willing to import, and you really have to join one of these specific Facebook groups to buy it from these sellers, or you have to be lucky enough to catch an unsolicited plant talks drop. Hoya are vastly inaccessible in my opinion, and I think that they're quickly one of the top 3 most popular genuses right now. We're gonna talk about them a lot more in a video coming up I have pretty soon here this week. We will save that all until then because it's a lot. Thank you so much for watching this video. Please make sure you hit like, subscribe, and tweet me at PlanTEA. Follow me on Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, and Twitch at PlanTEA. Also, I have YouTube channel memberships. They're only $5 a month, and I think that they're a really great time. Thank you so much for watching. Seriously, I really appreciate you guys being here. I'll see you in the next houseplant section. Let's get to the end of video fun stuff.
Hello and welcome to the end of the video fun stuff. I would like to thank Liliana Ramos, Kim Klanowski, Ashley's Planties, Cole M, Houseplant Heather, Carissa Lawrence, All the Green Places, and Botanicas for the extra and continued channel support. Today's extra special comment shout out goes to Andrew Frederick, who says you should air layer that Florida Beauty. It will start getting real aerial roots and grow and the leaves will get massive. I air layer all my climbers even if I'm not going to propagate them. I couldn't have said it better myself, Mr. Frederick. Thank you so much for watching my content, and I'll see all you guys in the next houseplant section. Goodbye.